Hey folks, Will Owen here with JetBoatPilot.com. On today's video, we're going to discuss cleanout plugs for the Yamaha jet boat and answer some questions that are asked really regularly through social media and phone calls and things. So we'll discuss what the cleanout plugs are. We'll discuss some issues people have had removing them and how best to do that, and also how to rebuild your plugs in the event that you need to rebuild them. So first things first, cleanout plugs. Let's open this hatch here. For those of you that are not familiar, the jet propulsion system on a Yamaha jet boat has a patented feature called the cleanout port. Inside this hatch here, you'll notice I've got these two twist style locking plugs here. Those plugs go into an opening here. They go down, they lock, and they are basically going to complete the circuit to allow you to have jet propulsion. If you were to have a clog inside that intake grate or inside that area around your propulsion system, you could clear that clog easily without having to jump in the water. That makes it a pretty big deal. Matter of fact, Yamaha is the only jet manufacturer that has this feature. It's a patented feature and something they're very proud of. Other jet boat makers, if you have a similar clog situation, oftentimes you have to get off the boat somehow, either get it on the trailer or swim underneath to clear that clog. It's just not quite as simple. So Yamaha has really been doing this a long time. They've perfected this. This is really a great advantage for the Yamaha jet boat. But to use these plugs, there are two different styles. You'll have an older push button style that has a push button locking feature like this. And you also have newer style, which is a twist lock system. Kind of launched those in 2017. This newer style system is a little easier to use, a little more simplified. In order to use it, you notice how you have a lock-unlock feature or inscription on the top there. What we'll do is we'll unlock it. We're then going to take it and we're going to put it down into the opening here where the dogs there are kind of pointed at about 2 o'clock position. You'll press it down inside the hole, get it into the slots, press down and rotate. And you're going to hear it lock like that. Pull up on it hard to make sure it's locked in place. When you want to remove it, you'll simply just give it a quick turn, press down hard. As you're pressing down, rotate, and it'll come out. Some have expressed difficulty in getting the plug out. If you press down, it's not as difficult to get out. Sometimes if the plug is warm, or if the hot water's warm, or if it's hot temperatures outside, things can be a little bit more swollen, so it can be a little more difficult to get out. But easy to do, just press down, rotate. That's a big help. Older style plugs, 2016 and prior. This is kind of a half of a plug system, so I can show you the inner workings. You press the release button, the handle goes from being down to up, pull it out. That leads us to our next part of the video here. Some people complain about the plugs being lodged in place. This happens if the previous owner, current owner, has failed to maintain these plugs properly and they get seized or stuck. So we're going to give you some pointers on how to remove them. Newer style plugs, same as older style plugs. If you leave them in the hole all the time, water can flow inside, dirt, debris, other things can flow inside, and it can kind of wedge itself around this rubber gasket and around the seal that you see, the inner housing. Over time that builds up, and if it's not removed and cleaned regularly, it can be very difficult to remove. The plug can be difficult to remove in the time of need. So best recommendation, after use, take the plug out, turn it sideways like you see here, and allow the plug to drain. It is common for the plug to be full of water. That's the way it's designed. It's also common for water to flow up over this swim platform and get into this compartment if you're slowing down abruptly. So don't be fearful if you see water on top of your plugs. That's normal. But again, when you're storing your boat after you've used it, make that the first thing you do when you stop boating. When you get done for the day, take the plugs out, drain them, rinse them off really good with a hose, and let them lay kind of sideways like this. We don't necessarily recommend any kind of lubrication, although some people do that. We just simply make sure that the plugs are clean, that they're dry, that they'll be serviceable when it's time to use them. Same thing goes for the older push button style plugs. Same thing, pull them out, rinse them off, lay them sideways, let them drain, and you're insured to have good serviceable plugs when the time comes. Now, rebuild options. Yamaha offers a couple of rebuild kits. So I'll show you what we have here. You've got a new style and an old style. This is a 2017 and newer style plug rebuild kit. Comes with a gasket, the lower half, and some hardware. Other side, you've got older style. This is a push button style cleanout plug. That kit comes with a lower half and a gasket. I want to show you how that works. So you take your plug once it's disassembled. There's 8 screws on the top. Pull the 8 screws out, disassemble the old, throw it in the trash, take the new, lay the gasket on top here. See this little tab here? That tab is going to align itself with this little indentation. So press that on. It's going to go all the way around like you see here. I'll probably twist it just a little bit to align a little bit better, like that. Next steps, take the tabs of the little bosses here, align them with the holes, slide together. And then the 8 screws that you pulled out, put the 8 screws back in with a regular screwdriver, not a drill. Regular screwdriver. Once you got that all secured, put your lanyard back around, put them back in the boat. You should have a lot more ease installing and removing your plugs. The reason people rebuild these is because over time, if you leave them in the water all the time, these O-rings here, these rubber gaskets can swell, and that makes it difficult at times to press them all the way down into the lock position. So proper maintenance, you won't have this issue. Improper maintenance, you're going to want to rebuild your plugs, and that's going to be a real quick way to make sure your plugs are serviceable. Some people have expressed concern even after rebuilding, saying that they were not able to get the easy in, easy out outcome that they wanted. And in those cases, what oftentimes has happened is it's been sitting in the water so long, this really hardened plastic upper portion of this clean out plug here, I'll pull this apart, this portion here can also absorb just a little bit of water in and swell, or the aluminum housing could also corrode a bit and cause that material to kind of grow. It has the effect of causing that channel to be smaller, which means it's going to bind. So what you want to do is take the plug out, and whatever means that you're able to take it out, we'll talk about that in a moment. Get down in there with a Scotch-Brite pad, clean out the aluminum housing, maybe sand this down a little bit here to try to make sure you're restricting some of that binding, and then you'll be able to get the plug in and out a lot more easily. That is the key to making sure that the plugs stay locked in properly while in use. Some have reported over the years clean out plug blowouts, and although those have happened, it's been traced back to improper installation. Improper installation has been traced back to improper maintenance. So do your maintenance properly, you won't experience a blowout. If you don't do your maintenance properly, it's possible that you could launch these plugs underway and it could be kind of a hairy experience. So getting the plugs out of the boat. What happens if the boat's been in there for a long, or the plug's been in there for a long time and you can't remove it? Let me give you some tips. First, obviously, release by pushing the button. That's going to cause the handle to pop up. See how these dogs here, how they pop out? Pushing the button, mine's missing, pushing the button releases the handle. Once the handle's released, you're going to try to pull it out. If you can't pull it out, what I like to do, let me open this hatch here. Get you a piece of cardboard, fold it over 3 or 4 times and lay it right here. Get you a piece of 2x4 about this long and a piece of strap that's like a seatbelt type strap or a ratchet strap type of strap. Loop that one end around the handle, loop the other end around the 2x4, and lever it using this as the fulcrum to get the plug out. Sometimes that works well. If that doesn't work for you, some people have dumped a bucket of ice in there. That causes things to kind of contract a little bit. Maybe that'll help you get it out. If you can't get it out that way, some have taken boards and laid them across. They put in a car jack or a floor jack or something like that. They've jacked them up and got the plugs out that way. I've heard of folks using forklifts and getting them out that way. So whatever's at your disposal to pull it out, give it a go. Just bear in mind, if you put all that pressure on this handle here, there's a possibility you could bend these hinge pins here. And if you do that, sayonara to your plug. You need to replace the whole plug. Plug is something you can still buy. It's about 300 bucks. It'll teach you a lesson to properly maintain your plugs. So we have more pointers that you can give you as well if you decide that none of those work for you. We're here for you to answer questions as you might have them. But those are some simple steps that hopefully you can take to make sure that your cleanout plugs are always clean, dry, and serviceable. And we appreciate you watching this video. We hope it was helpful to you. Thanks. Have a great day.